Hi everyone, welcome to Yachting International Radio. You're with Karine and Rayson, your host from the Crew Coach. So today I'll be interviewing Janoah, who is a very experienced meditation teacher. In this interview, we'll be discussing the benefits of meditation as well as the stigma attached to meditation, specifically with males. Janoah will be talking about his personal experience of meditation and how it helped him manage his anxiety and stress. So this is a very interesting interview. If you are someone that burns out quite easily, struggles with depression, anxiety, or stress, this interview is for you. So you mentioned stress before. What is the relationship between meditation and stress?
Couple of things.
Yeah.
So one is, naturally our bodies accumulate stress and experience, right? Part of this is due to, our evolution to accumulate stress so we can prepare to survive the future, right? And this accumulation of stress, so that the way we used to, the reason why we've evolved this way, which this is obviously what you do, so you're all over this, is, we'd accumulate stress and triggers to certain things. So moving forward, we'd be able to react to them quickly if they were deemed to be of any danger to our survival, right? With the whole, that would throw into gear our stress, fight or flight response, okay? Now, times have changed, and that response was there purely to help us survive. It's not about happiness or growth, or expansion. It was literally about how do we survive the best, right? Now, however, our survival is based on different things. And for us now, the biggest, fear factors for us are like not being liked, or not finding a partner, or not making enough money, or not getting the job promotion, or whatever it might be. And so now all these things are, we're getting conditioned to see these things as of potential danger or threat to us. So now these things are deemed as stressful to us. So what happens here is now we're throwing into gear that same stress, fight or flight response, but it's almost to become maladaptive, right?
Yeah.
And so what meditation does is stimulates the antidote, so it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, right? So what it does is it stimulates the antidote to that stress response. You know how you sort of under the pump and you're a bit sweaty and you're nervous, and you might get the nervous shits, and you find it's hard to focus. Hard to think creatively and expansively, and whatever it may be. What this does is it stimulates the antidote to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's that rest and repair system. Now, what it's also doing is increasing our awareness. So when we talk about expansion of consciousness, it's not quite esoteric as it seems. The only way you can change something is if you know it, right? If you don't, you only know what you know. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed is my awareness has shifted. So
what does that look like for you when you say your awareness has shifted?
So, for example, what it looks like for me is I used to find certain things overwhelming and stressful, or someone would say something to me and I would want to get angry and fire back at them, or it would really eat me up. And I wouldn't pick up on the stimulus that would cause that. I just indulge in the response, right? I didn't have any awareness around what was causing me to feel that way or do that thing. I was just in it. While now I'm able to pick up on the fact that I'm feeling really, I'm like, it's because that person said X, Y, Z to me, right?
Yeah.
So what it's done is it's shifted my perception. So I see less things as stressful, right? So, now I'm a lot more resilient in terms of, things don't always go to plan, but it's like, it's okay, I will survive. And I'm a lot less reactive, and I don't go into that, fight or flight, stress response, which again puts more pressure on the body in terms of releasing cortisol and adrenaline. If that's not used up, that again is an impact on the body, which we have to deal with. So for me, it's been able to pick up on certain things and triggers that used to really get to me, and now be like, there I go again, shift the direction. So it's and what they've actually found is they've done research into sort of regular meditators, and what they've found is that the people that are regularly meditating, they're finding the grey matter around areas of, you know, introspection and moral reasoning and creativity are thickening, and the grey matter around like the amygdala and the fear response is actually shrinking.
Mm.
It becomes less of a, you know, driving factor in how we operate, and that's something that I've experienced practically.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
Mm.
So, in terms of stigma associated with men getting in touch with how would you describe it?
To be honest, it's more about just being open-minded to allowing a better version of you to be put forward.
Yes, but
That's it.
we can see that, but
Yeah.
then there's a lot of judgment from others. And I think I shared the story about working with the prisoners and trying to get them to do yoga because I know how that could help them and their well-being, and they refused because they thought it was gay.
Yeah.
So there would be some misconceptions there as well relating to meditation. What misconceptions have you been confronted with, or have people challenged you on or asked you about, or what have you had to deal with?
So the main ones are around it being sort of, I don't want to become like an airy fairy woo woo hippie and lose my edge. One of the biggest ones, particularly with, you know, excuse me, you know, high performers. They're like, yeah, but my edge is my thing. I can't afford to be all airy fairy and like, yeah, whatever, man, nothing bothers me anymore, blah, blah. Right? Because that's sort of what it comes across as.
Yeah.
And the way I answer that is that, imagine if you were able to have all your energy spent on the things that are important to you and not the energy spent on all the worry and the other shit going on in your mind. If anything, it'll sharpen your ability to focus and give energy to things that are of value to you. You know, there's less indecision, less back and forward, less time spent in speculation. So you'll actually also find that your productivity will increase because you'll make sharper, quicker decisions. And a pretty common thread between, you know, people who practice this regularly is an increased level of creativity as well. Right. So in that way, you will be less affected by things and less driven to react to stimulus or situations or people, and then have a more holistic, creative, balanced response to that same situation, as opposed to being like, rah, fiery, blah, you know, this and that. You might have a more constructive response to these things and be able to spend your energy on things that are important.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so amazing about meditation. It really increases your self-awareness. Because as you said, I mean, you can't change what you don't know, but if it develops your self-awareness and you have those aha moments and go, oh, okay, this is what it's triggered in me.
Yeah.
And then you've got a choice because you're aware, and you can go, well, maybe if I respond in this way, I won't get triggered. And how does that feel? And you're probably going to get less angry, less anxious. And it really helps with self-regulating your emotions. And what I hope is that it also facilitates conversations, whether it's men talking to other men, their mates, or other females. But it's really, I think, grounding us as human beings to be more connected with self, because we're so distracted by social media and other things that are removing ourselves from who we are and the essence of who we are.
We're becoming so externally motivated and unconnected, disconnected, sorry. We feel like you've got your social media and all the rest, but we are tribe creatures, and the difference between, you know, having lots of friends and all the sort of other stuff and bits and pieces to having like real connection with other people and real connection, understanding of yourself is huge. And I think that's going to be something that's going to come out a lot more now in terms of awareness of how important that piece is. You know,
So in your community, let's say your tribe, do you find that more of your mates are moving in that direction, and are you having more conversations about feelings? And as you said before, you didn't know what it was that was going on for you, and now you can go, okay, that's actually anxiety. Are you finding that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like, I haven't become not I've turned into a pussy or whatever. Like, that was, remember, I'd, get comments like that, and now guys are seeing that, it's actually increasing his performance, and we'll talk about things. And one of the biggest problems we have as guys is there is a stereotype that we have to have our shit together and push through, and with the provider, and we with this and with that, and that's I would say, destructive stereotype we feel we have to fit into as guys. And I'm just now, chatting about things, I was like, I was battling this weekend, I didn't have my shit together, or, whatever it might be. Most other 98% of other guys that I know were like, yeah, I was struggling with this too, or blah, blah. And I was like, we've all got something going on that we're not okay with. And it's a whole different story when it's not seen as a weakness. The way I look at it as true strength is about to own your shit. And, and then go, okay, this is something that's not working for me, and then work on it, as opposed to going, no, I'm fine, not trying this weird thing, and I'm, not open-minded about that.
Yeah. I'm also curious to know, what are some of the thoughts that men would have associated, say, for example, anxiety? Because I know that I had a friend who was clearly depressed, and he labeled it as, I'm definitely not depressed, I'm just unhappy. I'm like, well, you get out of bed at 2:00 in the afternoon, you're not exercising, you're showing all the signs of depression, but they didn't want to have that label attached to them. So as females, I think we're more inclined to have an understanding of what anxious thoughts are and where we feel it in the body. But for men who, I think in schools, this is something we should be talking about, but it's only coming up now where we're having conversations. So there's a bit of a delay there. So if you could help us understand from a man's perspective, in terms of those anxious thoughts, what's going on, what does that look like?
So for me, the thoughts around anxiety there was actually, to be quite specific, there were situations that I would have. So let's say I would get really anxious before a big game of sport, right? What would happen is I'll start thinking about the sport, and I'll start worrying about all the scenarios that could go wrong in the sport. And then I start feeling tight in the chest. I actually would feel physically ill, like I want to vomit. And then I would start thinking, okay, how can I get out of this? Will something happen that it'll stop this event from going forward, or can something happen for it to end? And I'd almost want to like run away and hide from it happening.
Yeah.
And it was literally crippling. I couldn't concentrate on other things. And I mean, obviously before sport, it wasn't easy to, numb it with booze, but that was probably the only time that I'd get nervous back then, in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s, I would get nervous before a date, for example.
Yeah.
Right? And so I would booze to numb that, right?
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'd just drink through it, so I would have the confidence and whatever it might be. And so I found myself trying to use other things and I'd push it away. And what I learned is that if you're feeling, the worst thing we can do is suppress. It gives it good power. It's going to come back another day, right?
Yeah.
What I've learned is that if you are feeling any kind of like, the tightness in the chest, or you're feeling sick in the stomach, you're like, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or what if this happens, or blah, blah, not to try to push it away, but actually feel it and let it move through the body, so we can actually be processed and move out of the body. Because that's one of the things we're taught as males, is like, you got to just push through it and feel it, feeling it. And also because feeling it doesn't feel good, so we'll push through. We don't want to feel that feeling, but we're actually almost like storing it and giving it more power by pushing through, and then it'll come back later on and bite us in the ass again harder.
Yeah.
So
in terms of feeling it, what came up for me, because I know this is what we told the inmates, is that when you feel anxious or you feel a particular feeling, it's so important to label it or identify it. So say I was on a date and I was feeling, let's pretend I'm a bloke, right? I'm on a date with a hot girl and I'm feeling extremely anxious. And then I'm like, my palms are sweating, and then, I can notice knots in my stomach. And if I said, look, I think you're extremely attractive. I'm actually feeling a bit nervous. Like, and that's the power of vulnerability and owning that. And I think that also commands respect, because she'll be able to identify with it, but also respect that you had the courage to name it. But it's also a compliment. It's like, it's flattery as well to say, well, you know, you're really gorgeous and this is the effect you're having on me,
Yeah.
instead of like binge drinking or, you know.
Literally, if you've got the balls to say that you were a bit nervous or worried, that's big. My girls will pick up on stuff, you know, and if they'll go, oh, he's confident enough to say he was a little bit nervous. And I was reading the other day this amazing book. They touched on anxiety and that kind of feeling, and the best you can do is almost like supercharge it and convert it into some kind of a positive action. Be like, oh, I'm feeling it because I'm excited. Fuck, it means I'm living, and that I'll now flip it into that. I don't really have it anymore. I haven't had it for years at all. But remember when I would get a taste of it, that's what I would do. I would actually flip it into more of a it means I'm doing something out of my comfort zone, and it means I'm challenging myself.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. And that's how I'd do that and feel it, as opposed to all right, come on, push it down. All right, have a couple of beers, and that kind of a thing, and just battle my way through it with, below average chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Very powerful. Okay, so in terms of your service offering, if someone wants to connect with you and get there, do you also give out the word, the mantra?
Yeah. So I do. There are two. I teach the Vedic technique is what I specialize in, which is done in person, and I'll give you the mantra. I'll take you through. It's like 3 2-hour workshops, and I'll take you through that full course. And the idea is that you walk away as a self-sufficient meditator. So you don't need to be guided by me or plug into an app or whatever it can be. And so I offer that, but I also offer an online version of the course, which isn't the full course, but it's a slightly tweaked version where I teach a little bit of mindfulness, some breathing techniques, and a meditation technique, and some philosophy around that. So there's sort of 2 ways I do it.
Awesome. And then people can reach you through?
Instagram is probably the biggest, or most active. Instagram,
you do tips,
or
you do Insta stories, and
pardon?
You're quite active on Instagram. You're quite active. You do Instagram stories.
Yeah, I do stories, little videos. I do little posts on sharing things that I've experienced and a bit of vulnerable stuff and then obviously the website, there's a few articles on as well, because I'm very much into the science. So my website's got lots of little links and stories that are a bit more scientific as well. So,
so that's Janoah.com, right? Or .com.au?
Yeah, so it's the email. The website is janoah.com.au, and name is Janoah Van Keekum.
Perfect.
Easy to spell, right?
Yeah, very easy. You might have to spell that out, actually. Actually, I know how to spell your first name, but you might have to spell it out.
My name is Janoah Van Keekum, so it's Instagram. It's at JANOAH, then VANKEKEM, Van Keekum.
Perfect. And I'm following you on Instagram too. So if people get confused, they can check out who I'm following and just search your name there, and then they'll be able to find you. Thank you so much for your time, Janoah. That was really rich and insightful.
I'm glad. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. Okay.